Now we've reached the halfway mark of the season, and I think things are going well so far. While I absolutely hated the J. Cole and Nia love triangle in the last hour-long special, the themes presented in that special were so sophisticated that they almost made me forget about that immature element of the show. And while this is a new hour-long special that will likely focus on different themes, I'm confident that we'll get something as sophisticated, if not more so, moving forward. So let's go ahead and talk about the first episode of the new special, Enter the Digiverse.
Digiworld.
Digiverse.
Digiworld.
Digiverse.
Digital world.
Forget it! Let's just move on with the review! The episode opens with Cyrus working on a machine in his office, saying that with a little ingenuity, the ninja can use the Technoblades to reboot the system and erase the Overlord for good. Jay comments that he thought they needed the stolen hard drive to reboot the system, but Cyrus explains that by the time they figure out where Lloyd is, the Overlord will have taken his golden power, so the only option they have left is to use Zane's power and Cyrus's machine to enter the digital realm and reboot the system remotely. Cyrus goes on to say that if the ninja die in the Matrix, they die for real as he starts up the machine. The city civilians suddenly break into the office, demanding that Cyrus share his power source with them so that they can defend themselves in future Nindroid attacks on the city before they start beating on Cyrus's machine. The civilians stop when they notice golden power floating through the air, which Cyrus says is a result of the Overlord draining Lloyd's power in his flying machine. As golden power disperses throughout the city, activating some attack bots, Cyrus tells Pixel to isolate the servers so the Overlord won't discover their plan, but as she goes to do so, she notices the Nindroids, Wu, and Pythor have already reached the building, so Cyrus puts the place on lockdown. Pythor orders the Nindroids to break through the doors, Cyrus tells the ninja to be seated, and Neo orders the civilians to hold the Nindroids off. Cyrus instructs the ninja on what to do once they're inside the program, saying that they need to follow the source code to a glowing activation port and put their weapons in it so that the Overlord will be erased from the system. Cyrus further informs the ninja that while he wrote the code, the Overlord controls it, adding that he'll try his best to keep them hidden so that they'll have a better chance of success. After Pixel tells Zane to be careful, Kai asks Cyrus how he knows the machine won't disintegrate them instantly, to which Cyrus says he doesn't before he activates the switch, and Kai exclaims that he hates technology. The four ninja wake up in what looks like Cyrus's office, with Kai saying that the machine didn't work, but after looking at their surroundings, the group realize they're in the Digiverse. After Jay hits Cole to determine that the ninja can't get hurt in the Digiverse, Zane says they should stay on task and find the activation port before we cut to Pythor and the Nindroids breaking down the door to Borg Tower. The villains are immediately met by the civilians who start fighting them, though Cyrus's robotic legs are able to make it into the building. Cut to Lloyd remembering his father's words about he who holds the golden power, as that power is continually drained to make the Overlord's new body. Back in the Digiverse, the ninjas see all the source code heading downward and think of the best way to follow it.
Then let's follow it.
Easier said than done.
Aren't you forgetting? We're in a video game! Second rule! Video games rule!
How did you do that?
Just imagine it!
Just imagine. Huh? What's happening?
You gotta clear your mind!
You were the one who called me an airhead!
No, it was me actually.
Stop being so self-conscious and jump!
Yeah, come on, Kai.
Free your mind.
Kai eventually jumps to join the others, and Cyrus sees that they are mastering the digital realm until his legs suddenly attack. Nia steps in to hold off the legs, telling Pixel to make sure that the Overlord doesn't find the ninja in the system, but as she goes to check, Pixel finds out that the Overlord has already found them. The ninja discover that all the source code is moving toward the bottom of virtual Borg Tower, and start to head down before the Overlord suddenly appears and begins pulling them into the floor. To make matters worse, the civilians send a message to Borg's office saying that they couldn't stop the Nindroids and that the bad guys are coming up. Cyrus tells Nia to try and hold off the coming Nindroids while he holds off his legs, before telling Pixel how to override the corrupted code in the system to save the ninja. Pixel manages to temporarily take control of a crane arm and pull the ninja out of the floor, but the Overlord marks her efforts before turning the entire virtual city upside down. The ninja try not to fall as they make it back into Borg Tower in the exact spot that Nia meets the villains, telling them to surrender. Crypto laughs at her, finding the whole thing cute, but Nia calls on her samurai armor to fight the villains, though Pythor and Evil Wu manage to escape and continue toward the office. Back with the ninja, Jay says they're not thinking big enough before he creates a virtual version of his Thunder Raider and heads up to the bottom of the building. The other ninja follows suit, but Kai is unable to maintain his jet and falls only to be saved by Zane in his hovercopter before the group heads up. Back in the real world, Pythor and Evil Wu make it to the office and try to attack the ninja, but Pixel springs into action to protect them before Cyrus is captured and taken away, telling Pixel that it's all up to her now. Cut to the Digiverse, where the ninja blast a few enemy machines as they reach the bottom of Borg Tower and break through the floor where they find the activation port. The heroes make it to the activation port and put their Technoblades into it so that the system can be rebooted, but the Overlord appears and blocks the reboot signal. The ninja charge the Overlord to try and move him out of the away, before we cut back to Pixel, who is still fighting Pythor and Wu. During the fight, Evil Wu is knocked near the activation switch for the machine, so Pythor orders him to hit it, but before he can, a Ninjaroid runs in and throws Wu out the window before removing his hood to reveal Garmadon. Confused, Pythor reminds Garmadon about his oath of non-violence, but Garmadon says that when the villains took his son, all bets were off, before he fights Pythor, forcing the snake to retreat. Looking out the window, Garmadon sees Evil Wu holding onto a ledge and jumps down to face his brother one-on-one. Back with the ninja, the Overlord taunts them, saying technology has made him infinite, while at the same time, Lloyd remembers what his father said about him handling his journey alone. Lloyd repeatedly says that he's not alone, which is heard by Zane in the Digiverse, who tells the Overlord that good guys never give up, before his outfit turns gold and he charges the Overlord. The others are surprised by this development, but Zane says that they have the choice to reflect the light as he climbs the Overlord and redirects the reboot signal, telling Cole to get into the light. Cole also turns gold as he redirects the light to Jay, who follows suit with the other ninja, telling Kai to get into position. However, Kai's self-doubt prevents him from turning gold and helping his friends, so the Overlord preys on Kai's insecurities as his body nears completion in the real world.
What Zane's powers truly allow.
I allow myself!
System reboot initiated.
I'm just Zane.
With the system rebooted, the machines stop attacking the civilians, and Sensei Wu even turns back to normal, leading to Cryptor telling the other ninjoids to switch the power offline as they make their retreat. The ninjas celebrate their victory, only for Garmadon to ask about Lloyd, and we cut to the flying machine, which is now heavily damaged and about to crash into the sea. Though weak, Lloyd is able to jump out of the machine before it crashes, and he swims to a nearby village where he makes contact with the others. Relieved that Lloyd's okay, the group share a hearty laugh, save for Pixel, who looks worriedly at Cyrus's empty wheelchair, and the episode ends with Zane telling Pixel that they'll find Cyrus, adding that when they find Pythor, all this will be over. This is a really strong episode, however I'm not really sure if it's a good opener for the hour-long special that it was originally aired as, partly because the plot mainly deals with the fallout from the last special. I guess it would have been different had the Overlord, I don't know, actually succeeded in his plans of getting a new body and somehow survived the crash. Man, that would have been so cool, but I guess we'll never know. Despite that, this is still a really good episode that not only builds up the tension and has some great action, but it also advances some of the characters in an interesting way. Believing that his father's dead, Lloyd chooses to hold on to the last bit of wisdom that his father gave him, and as he reflects on his father's words, Lloyd ultimately comes to understand where he failed his father and how irresponsible he was being with his powers. However, even as he watches the Overlord take his power away from him, Lloyd still can't agree with his father that he must handle the responsibility of the golden power by himself. While he knows that the golden power has the potential to corrupt, he believes that the other ninja will be there for him no matter what, and he demonstrates how much trust he has in them by giving each of them a taste of his golden power so that they can defeat the Overlord. But while Lloyd's characterization is used to showcase the episode's themes of teamwork and togetherness effectively, Kai's characterization is not as well handled. Kai is supposed to feel helpless since he's out of his element in this episode, but reintroducing Kai's hatred of technology after having the last hour-long special not even mention that aspect of his character really makes him doubting himself in the Digiverse feel like it comes out of nowhere. In fact, I would think that he was acting like an entirely different character had I not seen the first two episodes of this season. However, one character who remains consistent throughout this episode is Zane, who in my mind fully becomes the main character of the season here. I mean, sure, Zane has been a major part of the season so far, but up to this point, the show was more focused on Lloyd than it was on Zane. But now that Lloyd's story arc is effectively over, the show is allowed to fully focus on Zane as a character. And you can see this shift in protagonist through key bits of dialogue peppered throughout the episode. Cyrus's words about what Zane's powers truly allow, and the Overlord saying that technology has made him infinite, are two lines that show the paralleling story arcs between Zane and Lloyd. Like Lloyd, Zane has discovered a source of power that he didn't know he had, and he ultimately comes to the same conclusion about his power that Lloyd did, except in a different way. Hearing about the curse of the Golden Master from the Serpentine, seeing how powerful technology has made the Overlord, and even tapping into the Golden Power to defeat the Overlord, have all shown Zane that not only can the Golden Power corrupt, but that he could now be as powerful as Lloyd potentially, which is why when he comes back from the Digiverse, he says, "I'm just Zane." It's a promise to himself and the other ninja that despite the fact that he has this new power, he's still the same person that he always was and won't allow the power to corrupt him. Overall, this is my favorite episode of the season so far. While Kai's characterization could have been done better, the episode makes up for it by telling a really suspenseful story that is filled with great action and some really strong character development. Though I do wish the Overlord could have stayed our villain for a little bit longer, since I feel more could have been done with him, but hey, what are you gonna do? I'm Nick, aka IronBet1993, reminding you to Ninja Go! Holy shit.